American author named Morgan Robertson once wrote a book called The Wreck of the Titan. The book was about an unsinkable ship called the Titan that set sail from England to New York, with many rich and famous passengers on board. On its journey, the Titan hit an iceberg in the North Atlantic and sunk. Many lives were lost because there were not enough lifeboats. So what is so strange about this? Well, The Wreck of the Titan was written 14 years before the Titanic even sank. Now let's start with a little history of the Titanic. The White Star Line was founded in 1850. In 1867, it was purchased by Thomas Ismay. Thomas's son Bruce became a partner in the firm and took over as company director in 1899 when his father died. In 1902, a wealthy American bought the company. Ismay remained as managing director. In 1907, Ismay suggested that the company build two liners, which were bigger and more luxurious than any other ship in the world. These two ships were the Titanic and the Olympia. First, the construction. The Titanic was built in Belfast, the shipbuilding company, by Harland and Wolff. Thomas Andrews was the chief designer on the Titanic, and construction began in 1909. The design. The Titanic had 16 watertight compartments. She could stay afloat if any two compartments or the first four became flooded. Titanic had 29 boilers. 24 of these were large boilers containing 6 coal-burning furnaces, 5 were small, containing 3 furnaces. Titanic had 4 funnels, 3 of which were used to expel gas. Titanic had 3 propellers, which were powered by steam. The rotation of the propellers powered the steam through the ship. The Titanic was launched in 1911. The next 10 months were spent completing the interior of the ship. The Titanic was fitted with 16 wooden lifeboats in addition to 4 collapsible canvas-sided lifeboats. The ship was designed to hold 32, but it thought the deck would look too crowded, so it went down to 20. Titanic had dining rooms for each class level: third class, middle class, and third class. It had a post office, an elevator, a swimming pool, a squash court, a gymnasium, and a Turkish bath. The Titanic's main voyage. The Titanic departed from Queenstown, Ireland around 1:30 p.m. on April 10, 1912. The weather was calm for sailing, with a blue sky, wind was light, and the ocean was calm. According to Walter Lord in A Night to Remember from 1955, the Atlantic Ocean looked like polished plate glass.
About some features, but not about Titanic. It's over 100 feet longer than Montaigne. Far more luxurious. Daughter's fountain difficult to impress with.
So this is the ship they say is unsinkable.
It is unsinkable.
Unsinkable, that's exactly what they thought until April 4th of 1912. Titanic struck an iceberg at 11:40 p.m. on April 14, 1912, which sliced through the side of the ship. Shortly after impact, it was released that 6 of the watertight compartments were flooded. 7 iceberg warnings were ignored. The Californian. The Titanic was not the only ship in the North Atlantic that night. The Californian was just 6 miles from the Titanic. They saw flares being fired into the sky and concluded that a party was being held. On seeing the ship disappear, they concluded it had just sailed away and the party was over. When the Carpathia reached the site, news of the fate of Titanic had reached the Californian. If the Californian had responded on seeing the flares, it would have reached the Titanic before it sank. The Carpathia. At around 4:10 a.m., the distress call of Titanic was answered by Carpathia, arriving to rescue those who floated in the lifeboats. Carpathia rescued 705 survivors. 1,522 passengers and crew were lost. By 9 o'clock, the last survivor had been picked up, and Rostron gave the order to depart for New York. Carpathia arrived in port on April 18th. When news broke about the disaster, it rose fast. J. Bruce Ismay, director of the White Star Line, sent out a telegram saying, "Deeply regret to advise you that the Titanic sank this morning after collision with iceberg, resulting in serious loss of life. Full particulars later." Later on, the story was adapted into a movie, written, directed, and produced by James Cameron. Cameron spent more time on the Titanic than the ship's original passenger because he made 12 trips to the site of the wreck. Cameron assembled an expedition to the dive of the wreck on the floor of the ocean to film the footage that was later used at the beginning of the movie. Where is the Titanic now? The Titanic now lies over 12,000 feet below the Atlantic Ocean. The wreck of the Titanic was finally located in 1985 on September, to be precise. I figure life's a gift, and I don't intend on washing it. You don't know what hand you're going to get dealt with next. You learn to take life as it comes to you, to make each day count. Jack Dawson, The Titanic.